I heard it before I saw it. This faint, wet squelch sound echoing outside my window at 6:12 a.m. At first, I thought it was just the sprinklers kicking in early again. But then came the whispering voice. Sharp. Bossy. Familiar. Make sure it's sealed tight, Harold. I don't want him slipping another appeal letter past me. I froze halfway through making my coffee. Only one person in our HOA talked like that. Karen. I walked to the window and slowly lifted the blinds. And there she was, crouched like some kind of suburban raccoon, holding an industrial glue gun the size of a power drill. Her husband, poor Harold, held my mailbox door shut while she traced thick, clear glue over every seam. My mailbox. On my property. The rage hit me like a wave, but beneath it, a quiet, sarcastic voice whispered, "Of course, because this week wasn't exhausting enough." I slipped on my shoes, stepped outside, and cleared my throat loudly. Karen jumped so hard the glue gun nearly flew out of her hand. "Oh, you're awake," she said, smiling the fakest HOA smile ever produced. "Just doing a community integrity check. By gluing my mailbox shut?" She scoffed. "It's not your mailbox. It's HOA-issued property. And since you keep misusing it with your complaints," she said the word like it was toxic, "we're taking precautionary measures." Harold nodded nervously behind her, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. "That's illegal," I said slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. "Tampering with mail is a federal offense." Karen rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. Like the FBI is going to come arrest a homeowner for maintaining neighborhood standards." She actually patted my arm, patted me, and started walking away as if she hadn't just committed a crime in broad daylight. "You'll thank me later," she said. "It's for your own good." I stood there, staring at the sealed mailbox glistening with fresh glue. Something inside me snapped. Not in anger, but in clarity. If Karen wanted a war, she just declared it. And I don't lose wars, especially not to someone who brings a glue gun to a legal fight. But the thing is, I didn't choose a legal fight. I chose something much more satisfying, and tonight would be the night it began. The glue dried into a hardened, glossy shell by noon. Mailman couldn't open it. I couldn't open it. And Karen, watching from across the street with her arms crossed like a queen inspecting her kingdom, looked proud of herself. I needed proof, documentation, before I retaliated. So I recorded everything. Photos, videos, timestamps. Even the mailman shaking his head and muttering, "Man, your HOA is something else." By evening, I sent a formal complaint to the HOA board. That's when Karen panicked. Not even 30 minutes later, I got an email titled, "Urgent HOA emergency meeting. Attendance required." The meeting was held in the clubhouse, fluorescent lights buzzing, cheap folding chairs, and that weird carpet smell nobody ever talks about. I walked in and immediately noticed three things. 1. Karen sitting at the head of the table like she owned the building. 2. A giant binder labeled Rules and Regulations, Karen's annotated edition. 3. Harold, staring at the floor, probably regretting every life choice that led him here. "Let's begin," Karen announced with fake authority. "We are here to address your violation." I raised an eyebrow. "My violation?" She slid a paper across the table. "You submitted hostile and unneighborly complaints. That destabilizes community morale. Therefore, we protected communal property, your mailbox, from further misuse." I leaned back, trying not to laugh. "Karen, you glued it shut." "Secured it," she corrected. "That's federal property," I repeated slowly. She waved dismissively. "Everything in this community is under HOA jurisdiction. Even the oxygen we breathe, technically." Someone at the table actually nodded. I placed my phone on the table and pressed play. The room filled with audio, Karen whispering orders, the glue gun, her, "He won't slip another letter past me." Her eyes widened. That is out of context." "Really?" I said. "I can play the full video." A board member whispered. "Karen, you glued his mailbox shut?" Karen's eyes darted around like a cornered animal. "It was necessary. He's rebellious." The room fell silent. And that's when I knew I had her. Not legally, not publicly, but psychologically. She was terrified, because this time she wasn't in control. And that's when the idea hit me. A harmless, poetic, karmic masterpiece of an idea. If she wanted to block my access, I'd block hers. And cement does not come off easily. The idea didn't come to me all at once. It arrived slowly, quiet, clean, and precise, like a puzzle clicking into place. By the time I got home from the HOA meeting, the sun had set, and Karen's porch light was glowing like a lone interrogation lamp across the cul-de-sac. She was pacing on her driveway, phone glued to her ear, no doubt ranting to someone about rogue homeowners. I stood inside my dark living room, watching her through the blinds. She had no idea I was already planning my next move. If she can glue, I can cement. But I wasn't going to do anything illegal or destructive. I'm not her. I wanted something poetic, symbolic. Something that would make her feel exactly the kind of inconvenience she'd inflicted on me. And I knew just the spot. Karen had a narrow stone pathway running from her driveway to her front door. A pathway she bragged about constantly. It's my pride of the neighborhood. It elevates curb appeal. It's artisanal stone, you know, hand-laid. It was also her only walkway. If something were to, say, block that narrow stretch, even temporarily, Karen would feel trapped. Inconvenienced. Powerless. Exactly like she tried to make me feel. So I made a list. Quick-setting cement mix, a couple of plastic buckets, a trowel, a tarp, a late-night window of opportunity, and a perfectly calm, legally harmless plan. I wasn't damaging the stones. I wasn't altering HOA property. I was simply filling the spaces between them. Temporarily, of course. Just enough to render the pathway unusable until it dried, cracked, and needed clearing. A harmless inconvenience in comparison to federal mailbox tampering. Around 11:48 p.m., I popped my trunk and quietly unloaded the supplies behind my trash bins. The neighborhood was silent. Windows dark, dogs asleep, porch cameras blinking lazily in standby mode. I waited. 11:52, 11:57, 12:04. Finally, Karen's lights went off. I stepped out into the cool night, heart steady, footsteps soft, and made my way across the street. For once, Karen wasn't watching. For once, I had the freedom to move in peace. And for once, I was the one in control. I placed the first bucket on the edge of her pathway. And the moment I lifted the bag of cement, a porch light flicked on. The sudden flood of white light hit me like a spotlight on a stage. I froze mid-pour, the bag of cement hovering over the bucket. For a second, I thought it was Karen, but then I heard a confused, sleepy voice. Neighbor? What are you doing? It was Mr. Patel from next door, wearing pajama pants and holding a mug like he'd sleepwalked into a hostage situation. I exhaled in relief. Oh, hey, sorry. Didn't mean to startle you. He stepped closer, squinting at the supplies. Is that cement? I nodded. Quickset. His eyes went wide. For what exactly? I pointed at Karen's pathway. Just filling the gaps. Temporary inconvenience. Like what she did to my mailbox. Just less federal crime-ish. He stared at me for a moment, processing this. Then, unexpectedly, he chuckled. You know what? He said, sipping his tea. Do it. She glued my sprinkler heads last month because she said they sprayed with attitude. I blinked. She did what? He nodded. She also tried to fine my wife for leaving a welcome mat that clashed with community tones. Yep, that sounded like Karen. Go ahead, he whispered. Pretend I didn't see anything. He turned off his porch light and disappeared inside like a ninja in slippers. I breathed out slowly, adrenaline settling into something calmer. Focused, determined. Then I mixed the cement. The powder puffed up into the air, coating the night with a dusty smell. I added water, stirred quietly, and the mixture thickened into a smooth, heavy paste. I worked fast, bucket to stone, trowel to gap. Smooth strokes filling every inch. There was something therapeutic about it. Clean, methodical, and oddly peaceful. The silence of midnight. The rhythmic scrape of the trowel. The knowledge that Karen would wake up to a surprise she fully deserved. By 12:42 a.m., her once perfect pathway was a solid gray slab with no gaps left breathing. Not damaged, not altered, just sealed, like my mailbox. I stepped back, wiped my hands, and admired my work. Clean, neat, and beautifully symbolic. I was about to pack up when a car engine growled in the distance. Headlights turned the corner, slow, approaching. And then, they stopped right in front of Karen's house. Her car door opened. Karen stepped out. Karen's car door slammed with the force of someone who believed the universe revolved around her front porch. Her silhouette froze as she spotted me standing on her pathway, trowel in hand, cement drying behind me like a freshly iced cake. Her jaw dropped. What? She hissed, voice cracking in disbelief. Did you do? I wiped the trowel clean with deliberate calm. Fixed your walkway. This is vandalism, she screeched. You cemented my artisan pathway. No, I corrected gently. I filled the gaps, improved the structure, made it safer, actually. Trip hazards, you know? Community standards. Her face turned a shade of red normally reserved for microwave tomatoes. You think this is funny? She sputtered. You think you can just come onto my property and... Your property? I raised an eyebrow. Her anger stuttered. Funny, I continued. Because earlier today you told me the mailbox wasn't mine. HOA jurisdiction, right? Using your logic, this path is technically common visual frontage. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. It was like watching a goldfish having an existential crisis. "This is unacceptable," she shouted finally. "I will fine you. I will report you. I will—" She stepped forward and, squelch. Her shoe sank half an inch into the still soft cement. Her scream echoed across the street. "My shoes! These are custom orthopedics." I bit back a smile. "Careful, it's still drying." Harold rushed out of the car, wide-eyed. "Karen, don't move! I can't move!" she yelled. "I'm stuck!" I offered help, because I wanted witnesses. "Need a hand?" She slapped my offer away, metaphorically because her arms were flailing like she was fighting invisible bees. Neighbors began emerging from their houses, porch lights flicking on one by one, like an audience settling in. Mr. Patel showed up with fresh tea, nodding at me with the proud approval of a man watching justice finally happen. Within minutes, even the HOA vice chair jogged over, staring at the scene in disbelief. Karen, leg-trapped, dignity cracked like cheap porcelain, pointed at me. "He did this! Arrest him!" The vice chair sighed. "Karen, this isn't criminal, but what you did to his mailbox is—" Silence. Then Harold whispered what the whole street had been waiting to hear. "Maybe we should resign from the HOA." Karen's face collapsed. And that was it. The storm she created finally turned on her. The mailbox was repaired. The cement cracked over the next few days. And the neighborhood? Peaceful. For the first time in years. As for me, I didn't need revenge. Just balance. And a trowel. If this story hit home, tap like. It tells the algorithm you stand with people who refuse to be pushed around. Subscribe to Karen Files so you never miss another moment where real folks fight back and win. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done if this happened on your street?